Okay. Okay. So for today, I'm mostly going to, well, at the beginning, I'm going to go over the syllabus, um, and then I'm going to basically review very quickly what you did in Calculus 1, Calculus 2, more or less, in a sort of a strange way. And then from there, how are those ideas going to be extended into what we're going to be doing over this course? And so I'll sort of introduce this subject matter. And then, if I have time, I'll then start the chapter 12. Okay, so let's see. Before I even start anything, any questions about anything before I start?
Do you require cameras to be on?
No. Okay, so the answer is not during class period. So during class period, I do not require people to turn on their cameras or anything. And the reason for that is because I'm mostly going to be, if you look here, you can see my screen. And so I'm mostly going to be discussing things. So you can see things on my screen as I'm talking about this. But during exams, you'll be required to turn on your webcams, your cameras, so that I can see you to proctor during exams.
Right. Okay.
But other than that, the answer is no. I will not require that you turn on your cameras during class.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and I will be taping these sessions, and so they will be available after class in case you, had to step out to do something for a minute, wash your hands or something. I don't know. And you missed something, or maybe you want to go over it again in greater detail. So these lectures will be taped so that you can view them again throughout the semester. Okay, so any questions before I start the syllabus? Tell you more or less how the course will be run. Oh, actually, maybe I should introduce Homer. we have a SI, so let me actually turn off the screen so that you can see. Oh, someone says, oh, pretty good. Okay. Do you want to say something, Homer?
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet all of you. My name is Homer, and my job is to help you with mathematics, Calculus 3, specifically for Professor Castillo's class. I am honored that he accepted me to be the embedded tutoring for this class. And I also would like to invite you to Maths Lab in Arc Center. And we have tutors, and we can help you to follow the class. My job is here to see how Professor Castillo is teaching you, so I can also use his method of teaching to help you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for him? Okay. Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you.
Here it is. Okay, so let me go over the syllabus. Oh, and I guess I should say this even before. I finally published the Canvas Shell. Hopefully, I kept finding little errors, so I kept delaying publishing it until the last moment. Hopefully, I've caught most of the little errors. but I'm sure there's going to be some that I didn't catch. Okay, so you can actually see the syllabus by going to, well, if you go to the class, to the Canvas shell, you can look in the modules. I guess I'll quickly go over some of the modules before I even do the syllabus. And so you can go over some of the modules. If you are unfamiliar with taking a course through Canvas, then you should go through the orientation module, and it will tell you, give you some information about, will orientate you to take a class through Canvas. If you have already taken class in Canvas, then it's not really necessary to go through those. They just sort of give you some basics. Oh no. Oh, that's unfortunate. The LAVC website is getting updated. So these were valid. See, I found an error. These were valid yesterday, but evidently the links are no longer valid today. Okay, so I wonder if you might be, look at that, they moved it. Could not be found. Okay, so I'll have to find where they move things. Okay, well, maybe you should go through the orientation. Some of the orientation, yeah, boy, look at all those. Some of the orientations, I guess, are still valid, but evidently they've moved several things around. Okay, that's very disappointing. Okay, so I'll have to, hopefully within the next day or two. Of course, they'll probably change it again. I'll see if I can find where they moved all the material on the LAVC website. Okay, so let's assume that hopefully you know how to take a class in Canvas. Otherwise, we have some problems here. Okay, so you can find the syllabus by just looking in the Introduction to Math 263 module, and they have the syllabus there. You can actually, if you click on the spring 2024, that link actually gives you the PDF. So that's the actual thing that you can look here. You can see that that's the actual thing that I'm looking at currently, or will be looking at currently. Okay, so, or you could go to, let's go back to Syllabus, and Syllabus will also bring you there. Okay, so let's go back. How disappointing. Okay, so let me go to there. Okay, so hopefully no more glitches, but who knows? Okay, so this is Math 263, Calculus 3. And here is the link. Hopefully, obviously, you know the link, but that's because I sent it to you yesterday, I think, or something. And so here is the link to this course. You can also find the link by going to Zoom and clicking on the link in Zoom, or again in the syllabus, they have a live link here in either the syllabi. Okay, so in this box is some important information, such as the time of the course, the section number. The text that we'll be using is Calculus by Stewart 8th edition, which should be the same textbook that you've been using for your Calculus 1 and Calculus 2 courses. My name, of course, Steve Castillo. My office, well, is on campus, but I'm not on campus. So I just say I'm sort of in Zoom. I'm online. If you want to contact me, you can email me. I should respond to your emails within 24 hours. If there is a more important, something that's a little bit more time crucial, you can also text me at my cell phone, and I should be able to respond within 12 hours. Office hours are Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 6:50 p.m. There might also be one on Saturday, so I might also add an additional one on Saturday from 1:05 to 2 p.m. I'll probably add that, but I didn't put that link in there yet. Okay, so things that you want to know. First off is, grades. So you probably, the first thing that students want to know is, well, how do I get an A, B, C, D, etc. And so if at the end of the semester, your average is between 85% and 100, you get an A, 70 and 85% B, 55 to 70 C, 40 to 55 D, below 40 an F. Here are some important dates, such as when to add the class, when to drop the class. Dates where, there are holidays, spring break, things of that sort. And the proposed dates for the exams. So 5% of your grade is on homework. 60% of your grade is on exams. The remaining 35% is on the final exam. So let me discuss homework. And so you can do homework one of two ways. So let's find homework. Here's homework. Good. And so let me discuss homework. So you can either do homework by doing problems from the book, or you can do them through the computer, WebAssign. And so, first off, maybe I'll tell you about WebAssign. Well, yeah, let me tell you about WebAssign. And so, you can do your computer homework through WebAssign. This is like on the first page. Through WebAssign. And you should enter the very first time, you'll need to enter the course key. And here's the course key for this particular course. So let me go to, there it is. Okay, so let me go to modules. So you can either click here where it says log in for WebAssign. You can click there. Why is it not? There it is. You can click there and then type in your, hopefully you'll go to the correct link. There it is. You can then enter your class key and, enroll. I would say that you should enroll with there's a like a 10-day free trial. You should always enroll in that. unless you already have a, you've already registered for Cengage, which is possible through your other courses. Okay, for this semester. Or you could even if you haven't done it that way, if you go to assignments. So let's go to chapter 12 assignments. Chapter 12 is the first chapter. So I'll go to chapter 12 assignments in the modules. And I believe the very first, I'm not a real person. So let's see. Oh, you see, yeah, they won't show the actual passwords. Okay, so, well, other than my email, but everyone knows my email. So if you didn't actually have it, it would take you to that same page previously. But of course, I'm not a real student, so it takes me to a slightly different page. Okay, so if I should go here. So if you click on any of these assignments here, it should notice they tell you the section and the due date. Now, these due dates, oh, come on. There it is. So this is one way to do the homework. And this is the through WebAssign. And so you can just put in the numbers, whatever, or expressions that they ask you for, and then they will score you. Now, if, of course, obviously this is in the future, you're not going to be able to, if you need, let's say that you're unable to complete the assignment by the date, by February 17th, you could click on request extension. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't do anything for you at this moment, only because February 17th is in the future. So if this had actually been in the past, meaning it was actually something I could have an extension on, then you could click on manual extension, on extension, and it will actually be able to give you an extension. It will automatically give you an extension. I think there's something like, I gave the maximum. I believe you can get 5 extensions for each assignment, and without penalty. If you're unable to do that because you've gone over, it's too long, in the past, or maybe you've gone over the limit of request, you can always ask for a manual extension, and then I will manually give you an extension. Again, without penalty. Okay, so here are the, for chapter 12, here are the assignments from WebAssign. You can also do the homework from the book. And well, here are listed the homework problems. It's every other odd is assigned for each section. And it gives you the date. Oh, let's go in as a student because I can't do this. Okay, so let me, is there a way to do it? Okay, here, wait, student. Okay, so let me go in as a student. Okay. Okay, student, and I was doing modules, and I was chapter 12. Okay, so good. Okay, so as a student, I can actually, quote unquote, submit an assignment. So you would, if you're doing this on WebAssign, then there's nothing to turn in. You just go through the WebAssign and input the numbers into WebAssign, and they'll score you. If you're doing it from the book, then obviously I can't see what you're doing. So you would need to scan. If you read here, you need to scan your assignment. And then you can either, if you have an actual scanner, you can scan it and make it into a PDF and then attach it. Or if you have an iPhone, you can use the Notes application, which does a very good job of making it into a PDF. Or you can use Cam Scanner. If you click on these little links here, they'll actually send you to a YouTube and you'll explain how to scan documents with with the Notes application or Cam Scanner. Now, if you want to submit your assignment, your homework assignment, you would click on file upload, and then you would go to your your computer and upload them. Okay. And then I would get a notification, and I would hopefully in short order grade your assignment. Now, notice that there are several sections. There's, well, in this case, 6 sections, 12.1 through 12.6. The preferred method is to actually turn in all the sections on, the sign date, February 25th or before. But some people like to do it piecewise, where they'll do it section by section. If you do that, which is fine, just note that you'll be getting only a part of your grade. So for each time you submit it. So let's say you only submit section 12.1 homework. Obviously, you won't get 100% of all of chapter 12 because you've only done like 1/6 of it. So if you only get like 15 points or 15%, that's 15% of the whole of chapter 12. It's not 15% of section 12.1. And so if and the next time if you do section 12.1 and 12.2, then maybe you'll have 25 or 30%. And that's because it keeps accumulating. It's that percent of the whole. And so if you only turn in it, in little pieces, then what you'll notice is that, your score, is going to be a smaller amount than you may think. And that's only because you've only turned in a part of the whole. Okay. And it's fine. You can do that if you wish. Just again, note that, you're not going to be getting 100%. You won't see scores of 100% if you only turn in one section at a time, not until you've turned in all the sections. By the time you get to 12.6, if you do 12.1 all the way to 12.6, then that accumulated will be out of 100. Then you'll get some, much higher score that will be obviously graded out of 100. Okay, so I think that's about it for that one.
Professor?
Question?
Yes. I actually have a couple questions. So just to confirm, then you can do the WebAssign homework or the book homework, but you don't have to do both?
That is correct. Yeah. So,
Okay.
So you can either do the homework from the book, and you can get 100% of the homework portion of your grade, or you can do it all from WebAssign and get 100%.
Okay.
And you are not required to do both. If you do both, then one acts as extra credit for the other. And so it's sort of, so there. So if you actually do both of them, then I add them up. So let's say you have 80%, from WebAssign, and 50% from your homework from the book, then 80 plus 50 is 130%. So you'd actually you could get over 100 just because you're doing twice the work.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
if you're doing more work than you have to, you can get, and you can do it piecewise, in piecemeal. I don't care. You do one section one day from the books, another day from the computer, from WebAssign, and sometimes you do them both from the WebAssign and from the book. It doesn't really matter how you slice and dice it up.
Gotcha.
And so it's up to you how you want to slice and dice it up.
Okay. And then my second question was, for the WebAssign homework, is there a limited number of attempts that we have per question?
Oh, darn. Someone asked me that before.
I've had classes where it's 3. I've had unlimited, but yeah, just wondering.
I set it up as unlimited, but someone said that it was only allowing like 5 times. So last semester I set it, and this semester I set it up as unlimited attempts.
Okay.
But I don't know if that really means unlimited, right? Sometimes they tell us it's unlimited, but they have a counter on it. Maybe after 5 attempts, they don't allow it to do it again, because they only have so many versions. Okay. So I really don't know is the answer.
Okay.
So the that's why I said, oh darn, someone's gonna ask me that question again. So the answer is I don't know the exact answer to that.
Okay.
I tried to set it up as unlimited is my answer.
Okay.
Okay. And there's only one student that said there's only 5 attempts. The other student said no, it was unlimited. So I don't know. Again, I don't know the answer.
Okay, no worries.
Okay. So it's unknown to me. But I did try to set it up as unlimited. Okay. As much as I could. Okay, so let me go back over the homework. So I didn't actually finish talking about the homework. I get sidetracked. So let me talk about the homework. If you're doing it from the book, then you would do every other odd problem. It was listed under the assignments. You would write your name, the class, the section, the date, the page number, like 1 out of 3 or whatever. You would write the instructions. The actual, it says like for problems 1 through 12, find the flux. Well, you don't know what that is yet, but find the flux of the following vector field. And then you'd write down the question. You would say, they give you a particular vector field. Then you'd write down your solution, box the answer, and then continue. Now, the reason for writing down the instructions and the question is that many times what students will do is they'll just write down the solution. And then, they'll similarly look at the book, read the solution when they study. And then they come up to the exam and they're like, I've seen this problem before, but I couldn't remember the solution to it. Why? Because they didn't write instruction, question, solution one after another. There was a detachment in your brain of how to organize all this data. It will not associate these with this unless you've done it one in an sequentially. And so you need to do this all as one chunk for your mind to remember that it's all one chunk. You don't want to know a solution and questions separately. You want them together. You want to know what is the solution to a particular question. And so you need to write these down sequentially so that you can associate them together. Next, you should show all your work in an organized manner so you can figure out what's going on. And I will be grading on completeness, accuracy, neatness, and format. Okay. So the dates, obviously, were listed in Canvas. They're also listed here. Please note that my dates are very fluid, meaning that you should take due dates as being very strict, and these are what you should follow. But if you're not able to turn in something on the due date, you can turn in a later time, earlier time, whatever. There are no penalties for late work. And so I say these are the best suggested due dates that you should do everything on. But again, if something comes up and you need to turn it in at a different time, then that is fine with me. Okay, what else? So that is, that was the homework from the book. And you can also do the homework again from Webassign. Oh, please note, in addition, I wonder if I can show you. There are, oh, good. In addition, there are things that are called like reflection and discussion. Those count towards your book homework. And so if you're doing things from the book, you can sort of do other things that are semi not math related, but and still get points for your book homework. So this was a discussion on, in this case, majors. And it asks you something about that. Oh, in math experience. So it tells you, well, I can actually show you this. Doesn't really matter. It asks you things like, preview. What classes have you taken? What grade did you get? What is a proof? How confident are you in mathematics? What's calculus? What's your favorite hobby? Tell me something about yourself. Okay, things like that. So yeah, leave. And so you get points for that. Oh, and of course I tell you, please, I can't point in this thing. So don't Google the answers. I know what calculus is. I'm asking you if you remember what it is. So, if I give you points for whatever you say. So it doesn't, I'm not really, I'm just sort of looking to see what you remember and how you're feeling this and that. Next, after every section, I also give you a reflection. I give you points to complain. And so if you have, so they'll all sort of look the same. Question 1 says, write something that's not clear or confusing about the section. Okay. Write one important thing something that you learned from this section. And it says, how could I improve this? So basically, I'm giving you points for, complaining about things. And so if you think that things can be improved, how do you want you're the student. If I'm able to get input from students and they tell me what they want, then I will try. I obviously I can't do, there's many students and they're asking for opposite things. I can't satisfy everyone. If I'm able to satisfy people, I try as much as I can. Anything that's reasonable. Okay. And so after every section, you have things like that, which add up points to your homework, book homework. Okay. Next. Okay, so that's basically homework. Any questions? And that's 5% of your grade. Any questions about homework before we go on?
Yes, I have one.
Sure.
So, do you have a preference if we submit, like, so you said we can do it piece by piece for the homework, but do you have a preference if you want us to submit it all in one big file, or if we can do one file for 12.1, one file for 12.2, and so on?
I don't have any preference. However, as I stated before, if you do it where you're doing 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, you'll only get, each time you submit it, you only get a grade for that piece. So if you're only, doing 1/5 of the work, you've only submitted a fifth of it. The most you can get is 20%. Okay, for each of those sections. So it will look like your scores are really low at the beginning until you accumulate towards the end. Or you can do it all in one big bunch. And either way you do it is fine with me.
Okay.
So it's your preference as far as that goes. I have no limit. I didn't put any limit on the number of file submissions. And so you can submit it as many times as you wish. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about homework?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So for a website right now, it currently says that it's a 14-day free trial.
Yes.
Do you know if the access to like the website homework will expire after that 14 days or no?
Well, the access to it expires. Once you purchase it again, it all becomes, all the grades are still there, and you can still access everything, after you actually if you pay for it after the 14 days, then it acts as if you always had it there. So it doesn't disappear or anything.
Okay, so we do have to pay for it after 14 days,
Right.
right?
I suggest, just for the heck of it, everyone should do the free trial for the first 14 days. They're giving it to you for free. You might as well do that. And then, towards the, as it's getting closer to the date, then that's when you should pay for it.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just I think a last quick one for me on homework. So each section of WebAssign homework has a specific date, due date.
Yes.
But the book assignments have one due date for the whole chapter.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
And that's because really it's much harder in WebAssign to do one big date.
Yeah.
Okay. For one thing, you'd have a gigantic, thing on a computer. It'd be much more difficult for you to, look at 100 questions. So it's done more piecewise, piecemeal when I'm doing it through WebAssign.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so the next big chunk are the exams. So 60% of your grade is on exams, another 35% is final exams. So 95% of grades are these exams. So here it is, exams. So 3 exams will be given along with a comprehensive final exam. First exam will consist of 20 questions. In addition, there'll be there's a question at the end, which is a submission question, where it says, to upload your work that, the work that you've done to actually find all the answers to the problems. So first exam is 20 questions. All the other exams will consist of 10 questions. Exam 1 is on chapters 12 and 13. Exam 2 is on chapter 14. Exam 3 is on chapter 15. Final exam is chapters 12 through 16. So we usually cover chapters 12 through 17, but usually chapter 17, we don't actually give questions from chapter 17. So the exam dates, proposed exam dates, are listed here under important dates. So here are the first, second exam, third exam, and the final exam. These should more or less be fixed dates. They could change, but I believe, of course I could be wrong, I don't think in this course, at least for the last 3 or 4 years, last several years, I don't think actually in this course, maybe never. I don't think I've actually ever changed a date. I think all the exams were always on the dates that I told you. But, they're always subject to change. Maybe this will be the first semester where I have to change a date for an exam. Usually if the date is changed, it'll only be maybe pulled back one date or something, instead of on a Wednesday, it'll be on the following Monday or something. But I don't think I've actually ever done this in this class, but I'll just say that these are the proposed dates for the exams, just in case something happens. Okay, so here it is. If you're unable to take an exam, I actually have a leeway that if you take the exam within 96 hours from the official start of the exam, so that would be 96 hours after 6:50 p.m. on February 28th, so 96 hours after that. If you actually complete the exam before that, because maybe there was something that happened, then that's acceptable. Otherwise, you get a score of 0, and so you get a score of 0. There it is. You get a score of 0, so somewhere around there. Okay, so during the exam, you will be proctored, so you'll need to turn on your webcams, your camera, and your microphone. And so you'll need to do that. Please do not use headphones during the exam. I'll be proctoring you through Zoom. So you will link to the same link that we have for lecture. It's just that when you're taking the exam, you would turn on your camera and your microphone so I can see you and hear you. Okay. There are cases where I will turn off your microphone so you will always turn on your microphone, but there may be cases where I will turn off your microphone when there is excess noise, which may happen inadvertently for a student. And so I may turn off your microphone during the exam when it becomes distracting. But you will always turn on your microphone. I have the ability to turn off your microphone. Um, you will need to submit your work just like you submit your work when you do it on paper from the book. You'll do the same sort of thing. You'll do it through either Cam Scanner or Notes or the Notes application, or if you have a scanner, you would scan it. Please do not just use your regular camera on your phone and take a JPEG because, well, it's very difficult for cameras to do color correction when they are trying to take a picture on white. So cameras don't do well with white. And so because of that, unless you tell it to be a scanner, so it knows that it has to do color correction for white. So unless you've told it that that you're doing white, it will not do really well, especially having lead markings on a white paper it doesn't do very well. And so don't take a regular picture with your camera on your phone when you're submitting these scans. Please use again, these are free, the Notes application or Cam Scanner, please, or your scanner. Please use those instead so that I can actually figure out what's going on. Okay. Also, a lot of times when people do it, they're out of focus. So please use one of these. So after you've completed your exam, you will then go to so once you've completed the exam and you have scanned your work and then submitted the exam, then you will go to a breakout room, and usually it says something like wait here. So you'll go to a breakout room that says wait here, and that's so that I know that you're done with the exam and you're done with scanning it, and and you've submitted your exam. I will then put you in a different breakout room. It usually says something like, I'll put you here. And I will then ask you a question on what you did on the exam. So I'll look at your work, whatever you scanned, and I'll just ask you to explain what you did. So, and that should be pretty easy. You just sort of say, oh, well, this is what I did. And then I'll just give you some points on that. And so that's the additional sort of submission question. Let's see. You can use a scientific calculator on the exam, but you cannot use a graphing calculator on the exam. So no graphing calculators, computers, etc., are allowed. So no graphing software, etc., is allowed during the exam. Only use a scientific calculator. Okay. I do have sample exams that are available that are nearly identical to the actual exams. Let's see. Modules. Sample exams. Voila, sample exam. Okay, so there are sample exams. So you can go to the sample exam here. I don't have a, or a PDF of it, I bet you. Yeah, and so there is a sample exam. There is a PDF for the sample exam. This is available for students here, the PDF. The answers in PDF form. a YouTube video
going over the sample final exam.
me going over. Okay, so the exam there. Really? Okay, there. Of me going
times
over the exam.
The cosine 38 degrees I plus the sine 38
there. There is a review. This is a view of the material from chapters 12 and 13. This is what we covered in chapters 12 and 13. All this will look like Chinese to you. Okay, so, or Greek or whatever. Which is this? Let me see, what is this? Oh, okay. This is an additional sample exam, exam 1. And this is obviously me just going through the sample. So let me go back here. How do I don't want there. I want, get out of that. I want my regular as instructor. Okay, there. Okay, so I'm now as instructor. Good. Where's modules? Here's modules. Okay, so the last one that I just showed you, good. Okay, so that last exam, sample exam, was actually done by me going through and basically taking your actual one version of your exam and actually doing the problems. And so if you look at the way that I don't know why it's taking so long, the way that I write out the answers, that's how I expect the answers to be written out on your exam. And so those are the minimal amount of writing that I expect the students should write on an exam to get full credit. Okay, I have no idea why it's not showing up. Okay, so I was going to show you how exams are made. Oh, now it came up. Okay, so let's see if I can. Oh, I can't show it this way. Okay, well, that's fine. Any questions on exams? Okay, next. Oh, I wonder if I can do this.
Professor?
Yes, question.
Yes, do we have to answer the questions the way you're teaching in the class?
Well, using the techniques that I show in class, yes.
Okay.
If you use a technique that is not shown in class, then you would have to derive it and prove that it's true. So in other words, if there is any technique that is not shown in class, in order for you to use it on a exam, you would need to obviously prove it because it was not proven, shown, derived, and proved in class. Please note that there are many sections. Let's see, multiple. When I say multiple sections, I shouldn't say many. Multiple sections where, let's see, arc length. So things like, well, let's look. Oh, okay. So areas, polar. If you have some sort of polar region, you want to find the area of that. In Calculus 2, they actually gave you a technique to do that. That's obviously a Calculus 2 technique. That is not a Calculus 3 technique. So if you, and of course, this is the real problem. If you go off and, you input into Google or whatever, how do I do this problem? It's very likely they're going to give you, say, find the area of this polar region. It's very likely they're going to give you a Calculus 2 technique, meaning that they're not telling you how to solve it in Calculus 3. And so that technique is not valid for this course. Similarly, trying to find angles between tangents. More than likely, the technique that they're going to give you is actually finding slopes between lines, which will be a trigonometry, something you had from pre-calculus. And again, that's not Calculus 3. So it's not doing it by way of vectors and all that. And so if you, ask, naively, how do I do this problem? And you look on YouTube, you look, etc. You Google this. More than likely, it's going to give you a technique from pre-calculus, which is obviously, we're not in pre-calculus, we're in Calculus 3. So you must use the techniques and knowledge of this course. We're teaching you how to do things with vectors and all that. We're not teaching you trigonometry. And so if you're using those other techniques, those are not the quote unquote way to do problems in Calculus 3. Okay. Similarly, finding surface areas, like surface areas, right? So you also had surface areas that you did in Calculus 2. Again, it's because we're doing things much more generally. And so, certainly you did surface areas in Calculus 2. Again, those techniques are not valid. Again, a Calculus 2 solution to a problem is not valid in a Calculus 3 course. Hopefully I answered your question. So there's overlaps in, if you naively just look at a problem, there are problems in these chapters that are problems from Calculus 2. Sometimes they're nearly the identical problem from sections in Calculus 2. They actually repeat the question, but it's given in a Calculus 3 frame of viewpoint. And so doing the solutions from Calculus 2 techniques is not valid in a Calculus 3 course. Is that clear?
Yes.
And you've got to be very careful. So the answer is you got to be really careful when you look up things on the internet, or even when you ask people in MATLAB. If you don't tell them, I'm doing this in Calculus 3 class, and you just say, how do you do this problem? If you ask me, how do I do this problem? You didn't tell me what class you're in. I don't know how to do it, right? Because I don't know what techniques are available to you. And so if you say it's a Calculus 3 class, oh, okay, this is how you do it. This is, but, if not, you didn't tell me, I might be using a Calculus 2 technique for you. And so I'd be wrong. Okay, you just have to be really careful because, there are things that overlap.
Got it. The
Right.
reason why I was asking, because when I was taking the calculus too, I
Mhm.
got my associate not here in America, so technique that they taught us back home was like different. That's
Yes,
what I was asking.
they could all. You see, the thing is that depending on the country you're in, they could have given you some Calc 3 techniques in your Calc 2, right? Because they could have switched things up. So the techniques may actually be the techniques we're going to use, because they may, you know, they may have switched them up because, you know, depending on where you're from, a lot of times they do that. So
Got it.
yeah, actually, what you'll find is when you take linear algebra, that's where it's even much worse, because the same problem can be given in lower division, upper division, and in graduate courses. And, you know, depending on the sophistication of the proof, you can have the exact same question, and it can be done so many, like 20, 30 different ways. And so there you really have to, you can never really, doing outside sources for like linear algebra almost always gives you the wrong technique. At least in Calc 3, it's not always incorrect. It's sometimes incorrect, but in linear algebra, it's almost always incorrect. The technique they give you is almost always not going to be the technique you for the particular course you're actually studying. Okay, let's get back. Next, suppose that you don't do well on an exam. You can always retake exams. So I allow you to retake exams as many times as you wish. You can, well, you cannot retake an exam while I'm lecturing. But other than that, you can retake it any other time that I'm available. Usually it's during office hours. Usually the most convenient time to retake exams are during office hours. You know, or by appointment. It turns out that on my exams, oh, actually, let's see if I can log in. Let me log in for 1 second. Oh, and I hope I don't get too many echoes. This is.
Here's what I found.
Shh, be quiet, Siri. Sorry. Siri is talking back to me. Oops. Okay, I'm logging in on another computer, so I'll have to be quiet for 1 second. Mute. Okay, good. So you're now not hearing me. Okay, so let me. Sorry, 1 second. See if I can find. Sorry. Here it is. Okay. Oh, and I have to, let's see if I can share my screen. Yes. Okay, so let me share my screen. How did that happen? Oh, here it is. Okay. So hopefully you should be able to see my screen now. Wait, where's Zoom? There's Zoom. Okay. Oh, and there's a whole bunch of questions I didn't see. Oh, okay. Okay, so good. Why is it looking at that and not the other one? Okay, so let me just look. Oops. Voila. Okay. Now we can see it. Okay, so let me go to exam 1. So I have to go here so I can show it to you. Okay, so the reason I can give you retakes is because of the following. So let me just look at some question. Let's look at some question here. So these are the actual questions from the book. And let's just see. Actually, it's, let's see. Okay, so here. So if I look, if you look here, what you'll notice is that for a type of problem, this is from exam 1. This is like question 4. I have several questions. They're all straight from the book. So these problems are all straight from the book. However, what you notice is the following, that even though they're straight from the book, they actually, let's look at this guy. They actually, if you see, there's like something that says an F here and an angle here. Those are actually things that are well, I say, give me a number between 1 and 100 for F, a number between 2 and 89 for an angle. And they then give you a whole bunch of those, 200 of them. And then the answer is calculated for that particular case. And so, because I'm then able to, for every exam, let's say preview. So this is actually an actual exam that, here's exam 1. This is what exam 1 looks like. Here are the questions and, with the numbers, et cetera, et cetera. And you do all the work on a piece of paper. You then input your answer. They'll tell you if you're right, you're wrong. And then you will attach, here it is, the 20th question. You will attach then your file at the end. But, if I, let's say I submit this anyway, submit the quiz. Yeah, I know all questions are unanswered. If you do a different preview, if you take the exam again, so I'm retaking the exam, what you'll notice is that the numbers are not the same. And actually the questions aren't quite the same, because I had for every question, I have 10 versions. And for each of those versions, I have 200 differing versions of each of those questions. And so, they're for each of these 20 questions, they're 2,000 different 2,000 possible versions. So there's, 40,000 differing questions that I'm pulling out for each of these. So therefore, when you take an exam, each time you take it, the question is going to be slightly different. They'll all be similar, but they're not going to be exactly the same, because I'm pulling them out from this differing database. So therefore, I'm able to, and these questions here is how I gave you, here's sample exams, where they're, that's how I did this sample exam. I just pulled them out, whatever. I just pulled, I just did one of those previews. I wrote down what the questions were, and I wrote down the answers. So please note that you should answer the questions in the way that I've shown you here. I've done the exact exam. So I've actually done the exam for you, and I've told you exactly how I want the questions to be answered. And it's taking forever to do it. But we saw it before, and it came up. Now it's not doing it. Oh, there it is. Well, there it is. Okay, so, this is how, this is the quote unquote work that I want you to see, I would want to see. And this is, I would actually like it to, this is what I would like to see in your paper. So for a problem such as this, I would like to see this on your paper. And so this is what I would expect, to see on your paper. Okay. Any questions about that? So because of that, that these numbers here are going to be different. They're generated. Again, I calculated the formula. So I was able to give questions that are generated by the computer. I programmed them in. And so I have differing versions for each of the questions here. Okay. And so that allows me to go and allow you to retake exams. And so you can retake exams as much as you want. And when you do that, well, how do I figure out your score? So let's do that. So how is the score determined? And so your score will be determined by the following formula. Let HW denote your homework average, written as a decimal, as computed at the end of the semester. So this is your overall homework average, which includes both Canvas, the book homework, and the web-assigned homework. So I've added up all those. If you have more than 100%, then I, make it equal to 1. Otherwise, if it's less than 100%, it's whatever that is, written as a decimal. Let TM be the average of your retakes along with the original, excluding the lowest score. Let the minimum be the lowest score. Then the score that will be recorded is the homework average times your average for the exams, plus the complement of your homework average times the minimum. And so let's do a particular example. So let's look at, how does this work in real life? So let's try to do an example here. So let me say that, suppose you have a 40% on the exam, maybe exam 1. So let's say on exam 1, you go out and you have a 40% on exam 1, and you decide to retake it. 40% is not very good. So because of that, I want to retake exam 1. And so you retake exam 1, you get a 94% when you retake. You retake it again, you get 90%. So, oh well, I'm going down now. So maybe I'll only take it twice. And so your homework average is 20%, let's say. So HW is 0.2. The minimum was 40. That was of the 3 retakes. So you got a 40%, a 94, and a 90. So the minimum is 40. The TM, the average,
of these three, excluding the lowest. So the average of 90 and 94 is 92. So what would be recorded is, well, 20% of the 92 plus 80% of the 40, which is a 50.4%. Not that good. We've gone from 40% up to 50%. You know, let's see what happens if instead your homework average is much better. So instead of having only a 20% on the homework, suppose at the end of the semester, you have 98% on the homework. So HW is 0.98. Everything else is the same. Uh-oh. And I thought I changed that, but I didn't. Okay. And so, so suppose that the homework average is 98%. Everything else is the same. So the minimum is still 40. The average of your exam is still 92, because you still had a 90 and 94 and a 40. And so your exam score will now be 98% of the 92 plus 2% of the 40, a 90.96. So notice that even though your exam scores were the same, if, and only if, you retake exams, then your homework will, your exam finally, your retake weighted exam scores will depend on your homework average. So if you do well on the exams, you don't need to retake exams, then you don't really have to do the homework that much. It's only 5% of your grade. Who cares about 5%? If you do not do well on the exams and you wish to retake exams, then you must do very well on the homework. Because notice, it went from a 50% to a 91%. So that's a big difference there. Again, with the same, you're doing the same things on the exam. It's just that the homework is weighting your score much better if you do well on the homework. If you do not do well, let me restate that. If you do not do well on the exams, then my viewpoint is then you should actually, go out and do the homework, get the homework done, and then that will give you a good weighting on the retakes. Okay? So it's very important if you're going to be doing a retake to do well on all of your homework. That is also why I don't actually have penalties for doing homework late, is because sometimes people at the beginning, they think, well, I'm going to do fine on the exams, and that's, good, okay. And then they find that maybe they don't do as well on the exams as they hoped. And because of that, then they have to start doing more of their homework. And so I allow students then to make up all their homework, so long as they get it done by the end of the semester. And so they'll pull up their homework grade, which will pull up these, the exam, what is recorded in my spreadsheet for your exams once you're doing your exam scores, once you're doing a retake. Any questions about retakes? And I should say this, there is a date here. So the last day to take retakes is May 17th, but that is not really a date for you as much as a date for me, meaning the following, that if you retake exams by this date, I guarantee that your exam will be graded before the end of, your exams and all your retakes will be graded before the end of the semester. If you take a retake after this date, and you can certainly do that, then I do not guarantee that I'll be able to grade it before the end of the semester. Certainly, if you take it, after the end of the semester, there's no way to go backwards in time to do it. The last day to retake an exam is 96 hours after the final exam. And so that's the last time that anything can be turned in for the course, is 96 hours after 7 p.m. on June 3rd. Any questions about exam retakes? Any questions on those? Okay, so let's see if I've covered everything. I think I've covered everything. Yes, okay, I think I've covered everything for the course. Any questions about anything on how the course will be run or anything else? Any questions on anything?